I want to welcome you back once again to the D-Lo Show. I am your host, Ryan D-Lo Delosier, and today we have a sobering but necessary update episode regarding the November 2022 murders of four University of Idaho students, Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. It's been a while since we did a deep dive into this case, so as a quick reminder on where the criminal side of the thing stand, the killer, BK, pleaded guilty to the four murders in the summer of 2025 in an agreement to avoid the death penalty. He waived all of his appeal rights and is currently serving 4 consecutive life terms in prison with no chance of parole. However, the ripple effects of this tragedy are still moving through the legal system and the media as well. Let's get into the recent updates. So the most difficult update to cover today involves newly released autopsy findings. Forensic psychologist Dr. Gary Braccato, who led the creation of the Columbia University Mass Murder Database, has analyzed these reports to try to understand the killer's motive. According to Dr. Braccato, the number and nature of the injuries suggest that BK was trying to play out a psychosexual fantasy aimed at one specific individual in the house. Braccato believes that Maddie Mogen was the intended and the primary target. Here is what the autopsy reports and Braccato's analysis revealed. The first item on our list, first bulleted item here, is that Madison Mogen, she sustained 28 stab wounds, which is fewer than the other two women who were in the house that were also killed. Braccato believes the comparatively lower number of wounds on Mogen indicates that she was the first one to be attacked in a more considered matter. Kaylee Gonsalves, who was unexpectedly sharing a bed with Maddie Mogen, suffered the least. She had 38 stab wounds, or she suffered, at least 38 stab wounds. She also had blunt force trauma, and she had asphyxial injuries, as if she were they cut off her breathing. So through asphyxiation, through basically choking her. Braccato theorizes that Kohberger became furious that his plan was disrupted, leading to a much more frenzied and ferociously violent attack on the other victims. Xana Kernodle, who was awake and she actually fought her attacker, she sustained the highest number of stab wounds at 67. And this is just another detail that goes along with this as well from a previous episode. We know that Xana got up and was fighting back, at least trying to defend herself, because she had knife wounds on her hands, but she also had bloody footprints and she had blood on the bottom of her feet, which indicated that she had gotten up out of bed in an attempt to try to defend herself or defend others. Ethan Chapin sustained the fewest stab wounds at 17, and the story goes with him is that he was just completely out of it. Like, he has passed out, and he may have never waken up. So that's one of the stories that goes along with this as well, too. Braccato suggests this lower number on Chapin indicates that he was eliminated in a more practical sense, whereas the killer's escalating fury was directed at the women. Ultimately, Braccato stated that the killers in these scenarios tend to punish the ones who see you, the people who interrupt the fantasy. So the ones who were in there, Maddie Mogen was the one he was intended to do. He was intended to go in and do whatever his psychosexual weirdo fantasy was, whatever that was. It's only known to him right now. He didn't share with us as part of his plea agreement. He did not have to tell us or the court or anyone else. They were not given given his opportunity to be able to hear why he did this ridiculousness, why he took 4 human beings were going to make the world a better place, and why he took them off the earth, and why does he still get to live? I mean, that is a question for another day. He didn't have to do that, so we're not sure why, but because his fantasy was interrupted, according to Bricado, then these 3 others took the brunt of BK's rage. Moving to the civil courts that go along with this. So that was one of the cases right there. So if we move to the civil courts, we have an update on the lawsuit filed by the families of the 4 victims against the college, Washington State University, or as we know it here, WSU. So early this year, the family sued the university. And if you remember correctly, WSU was the school that Brian Koberger was a graduate student. Actually, he was a doctoral student in criminology there, and he was working as a teacher's assistant, and he didn't even make it through the first semester because he was so creepy and weird, and he was fired from his teaching assistant job, which basically means he would have to pay for his own schooling for the rest of the time, which basically meant he was going to be kicked out of WSU. So again, going back to this, earlier this year, the families were suing the university, alleging that WSU knew about concerning predatory behavior from the killer, BK, who was a graduate student and an employee there, but the families are alleging that the school knew all this, but they failed to take action. So this week, WSU filed its first legal response. The university attorneys are arguing that they had no legal obligation to prevent the crimes and that the tragedy was not predictable based on what the school knew at the time. WSU has denied nearly every allegation in the original lawsuit and maintains that the school acted in good faith in performing its duties. WSU has formally requested that the federal court dismiss the case entirety. And then finally, there's another trial going on right now in Boise, Idaho, that highlights very real but very damaging consequences of internet sleuthing gone wrong. So this is another case right here. You might remember this name, Ashley Gilliard. She was a TikTok personality, probably still is, and she published more than 100 videos falsely accusing University of Idaho history professor Rebecca Schofield of ordering the students' murders to cover up an affair. Schofield never even met or taught those victims, any of the 4. And Idaho's it's not a small school by any means, but it's not huge. Okay, there's definitely a chance that you will have gone through a lot of, like they'll know who these professors are. I don't know if any of these students knew who Rebecca Schofield was, but Rebecca Schofield never even met or taught the victims and was out of town when the murders occurred. So in June of 2024, a U.S. magistrate judge ruled that Gouliard definitely defamed Schofield, noting a complete lack of any cooperating support for her claims. So now the case has gone to a jury trial in Boise, Idaho, specifically to determine the financial damages Gouliard owes the professor. Schofield has previously asked for over $1.8 million. The trial is expected to feature testimony from a public relations specialist and Schofield's therapist to detail the reputation harm and the PTSD diagnosis Schofield suffered as a result of these baseless online accusations. We do have the free speech right. We do have the right to free speech. But what we say, along with that, we can say whatever we want. But we need to be responsible for our words as well too. That's not just we can, but we also have with rights come responsibilities as well too. And I think that's one of the things that we need to understand in this world is we got a lot of rights. And as Americans, I feel blessed to have the rights that we have. But with those rights come the responsibility to use those rights in a way that is respectful and allows for us to speak the truth and not just randomly blab off things that we think will just get us clicks on the internet. So that's my just a little side commentary there as well too. So the baseless accusations, when you do that, if you decide to go fly off the handle and do that just for likes and clicks and things like that, you will pay the price later. And 1.8 million, I mean, I don't know if a TikTok influencer has 1.8 million to be able to do that. So that could be a lien that this individual will be paying for a long time. It's a stark reminder for us all of the true crime community. Real people are at the center of these cases. We've got to remember that. These are real people. People really died in this case. It's not just like CSI, and we're like, we're going to watch every whatever night of the week at 8 o'clock, whatever it's on, and go from there. These are real cases, and they don't get solved quickly. It takes time. The wheels of justice move slowly, but they are real people. Real cases, real lives are involved, real money, real feelings, real PTSD, things that go along with that. So it is a reminder to us in this true crime community that those people, we need to take care and remember those individuals who are involved in these crimes. And so when we are spreading these unfounded theories, it can destroy lives. And so I want to thank you for taking time today to be able to listen to this as I updated us on the Idaho 4. Again, this is the case. I mean, I was listening to things before. I've always been kind of a podcast guy, but when this happened, just being close to my house, close to home, not close to my house, it's 200 miles away, but it's close. It's in the area. I had been to the University of Idaho before, and I'm very familiar with that area now, years later. So, just the community that goes along with it. And, just going through the things that have been going on with it. It's been a very interesting story, for me, and I think for a lot of the nation. It just captivated everybody, from the murders that happened to how they captured the individual to how he's a law student. It's like if it was, if it was a movie, I would probably go watch it, but it's real life, and there's real people involved, and there's real people suffering because of it. So we want to remember them as well, too. All right. So as you are reaching the end of this episode, I want to thank you for tuning in to the D-Lo Show. I want you to stay safe out there. Be mindful of the media that you consume. Make sure the things that you are watching are, expanding it, and that they're correct, and things that go along with that. So we will see you next time. Thanks for hanging around. I hope you have an awesome day.